Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I want to talk about what my fluency goals are, or my primary goal is at this stage right now. And to start off, I'll show you one of my role models. This is ML Hertog on Instagram. If you don't follow this account, follow it. She is extremely fluent. I call her my fluency bae. And you see how this crazy amount of control, fluency, being able to control each part, move it around. Look at that. And what I specifically want to call to your attention here is what she's kind of doing here already in the first image. This kind of like ability to put your femur above the horizon, up straight here with control. This is what I want to do. So we'll try to find that moment here. So watch this. Yeah, boom. So above and able to control everything here. This position of this kind of angle between your femur and your torso, this my friends is the holy grail for me. And I don't think I'm too far off. I will predict right now that by the end of 2024 I will be able to lift my leg up like that. We'll see if that prediction comes true. But you never know how long these things take. It might actually be much shorter than I anticipate, because typically what happens is I'll have some sort of insight and then like, oh, and then you fix one thing and then boom, everything just blows up after that. So let's talk about what's actually happening here. We have our femur here, and we have our torso here. Torso composed of our spine and our ribs. We have this area here called the lumbar spine, which is the vertebra that do not have ribs coming off of it. And the hip connects to this point by way of a series of muscles here. We have the quadratus lumborum, and we have the iliocostalis lumborum, and then we have a series of muscles that come up the spine, the thoracis, longissimus thoracis, and then underneath that as well, the multifidus. And then within the spine itself, you have a bunch of intertransversi, a bunch of muscles there. But we'll just leave it with this for now. So these are the muscles that connect the hip to the rib. But we also have muscles that connect our hip, to our spine and to their ribs. But we also have these more external muscles here as well. The obliques, internal obliques, external obliques, and the transversus abdominis. So I'll just kind of show you those. Transversus abdominis first, very important here, connecting horizontally like this. Then we have the internal oblique coming up, and I'll just put my connective tissue layer on so you can see the cartilage. It connects to the cartilage. And then finally our external oblique. Great. So I have all these muscles here. I'll just kind of quickly show you on my own body. I kind of go through and activate these. So what we just talked about here, my QL, that's my QL here, and then iliocostalis lumborum here. Both of those are on now, and then longissimus thoracis directly on the spine. All right, and I didn't do the full thing, but boom. So you see that extending like that. That's me shortening those muscles here. And then I can lengthen them out in front here. Boom. And now those are on the back. So if I'm shortening these muscles, my leg goes out back behind me. Now I want you to notice though that once I go back enough, I start getting blocked up here in my thoracic spine. And that's about as far as I can go, because there's a blockage that comes up my spine. And this is the kind of main point I want to make here. My scoliosis, the curvature of the spine, this is the source of all my problems and all my answers, because without it I would not be making this video with you guys today and developing body fluency, so I'm very grateful for it. I consider it the Rubik's Cube that God handed me to solve in this lifetime, so I can give the answers to the rest of you guys. So here is these muscles I described here, pulling on the back side. Now what happens on the front side of the lumbar spine is we have our psoas. Now I'll talk about this in another video, but there is psoas. We call it a psoas as if it's one entity, but in reality you should think of each of these insertion points as its own link. So I kind of think about it as two distinct trees. One tree, each tree roots here in the back of the femur, right here, or in the kind of inner side of the femur rather, and then comes up and then inserts into each vertebra of the lumbar in both the body of the lumbar on the side here and the transverse process. So think about these as two separate trees that come in each of these. And then this, when it shortens, will pull the spine down and forward. So if I connect up each of these psoas pieces one by one, starting with the first lumbar there, I can distinctly feel the body insertion separate from the transverse process insertion. That's one there, next one, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the lumbar goes into the 12th thoracic vertebra. So that's 6. Boom. And now if I shorten these fibers, I have that. But you'll notice, again, my T-spine goes off to the side, so I can't go higher up. So I can go pretty high, but I can't go higher up than that. And this is as high as I can go with control and kind of do that, all that kind of stuff. So what's happening here? Blockage goes up, so I can, the more tension I create, the more kind of pressure and water flow comes up here, but then it blocks up here. Because the whole spine is not completely fluent yet, I can't complete this cycle. In order for me to get up here, it needs to be able to complete this whole cycle. And that might not make too much sense yet, but keep watching this channel and things will get more clear. But I want to talk about, that's what my goal is, to keep figuring this stuff out. What I'm focusing on right now is the last group of muscles that I haven't isolated and dialed in yet are these muscles in the vertebra. They're just kind of available to me now as I straighten everything else out. But for example, where are you at? Like these things, like this, the spinalis thoracis and all these spinalis muscles, erector spinae. I have most of them, but getting each of them kind of isoed, because my spine still has that twist in it, these things kind of zigzag up my spine, and that's why they accumulate blockage until eventually when I lift my leg up, I get stuck somewhere up here. So being able to kind of resolve that and allow that energy to flow through my arm. And then the reason why it's so important to me, aside from just a general fluency, which you should want anyways, is not just so I can do cool stuff like this, but I'm trying to get into martial arts. So one move so for example, the roundhouse kick in Muay Thai, I still can't really do with power. You gotta turn your hip, as they say, when you do a Muay Thai kick. So look something like this. Boom. So you notice, you can get a good view on this guy's hip. Bah. So you see how this spine curves nicely into the leg like this? It's the same principle here. He's shortening that psoas, shortening that front. Bah. And then that, look at that. That allows him to get that power. Basically, the muscles of his upper body are allowed to work in that leg kick. So that's for power, but also for this kind of fluidity and flow piece here. But look at the other move I want to be able to do one day is the meia lua, capoeira, where the leg comes up and kind of like circles around. So I'll show you that.
Same thing. Stop.
Do it slower. Watch this.
Stop.
So see, again, think about that psoas. It's It's on the left side here, but he's gonna do his right side. Think about this psoas on his left side, shortening, and then notice how it connects all the way up nicely and perfectly and fluently into both sides of his upper body. Wow, so see how it's shortened, it's all short like that, and then he's now able to just smoothly transition it. Make it even slower. And look at that, control as well. Come back, so look at that again. Here, boom, lifts up, over, down and around. So that move right there I also really want to be able to do. But in order for me to do that, I need to resolve these things in the spine. You can imagine if the spine is twisted at different points, then when you try to bend it as a whole, then it's gonna get crunched up. So if I can get everything fluent into it, relieve all those geometric twists, then I'll be able to do my mea lua, powerful turnover roundhouse kick. Let's kind of see where I am in those moves right now. So for example, in a roundhouse kick, I get blocked here when I try to turn. When I try to turn my kick, I get blocked right here, and my thing is not, it's just getting stuck here. My T-spine is off axis from my lumbar spine, so I can't. Notice how when I do that, this upper body isn't really part of it. So that's what. So I just did a little integration there, so now I have a bit more of it, but it's still not complete. And then for the mea lua, what was you doing? That coming over there. When you're doing like a movement or curve, those are harder to do when you're not fluent versus just like a throwing in one direction like a Muay Thai kick. So that is my goal, ladies and gentlemen. Now that I have it on the record, I will achieve this, hopefully sooner rather than later. We'll see exactly how long it takes me to get there. When it does, I'll make a video to show the update, and that will be more evidence of the power of the body fluency system. Thank you for watching.